think here's the biggest takeaway on this podcast. You know, when you enter a trade, your blood's going, your pulse is just racing.
The US 30 sweats.
That will go away. That feeling will eventually go away. And you're going to take a trade, you're going to trust yourself, and you're not even going to feel any different than you did before you took that trade. And that's when trading gets beautiful.
What's up, everyone? This is Grant. We got Derek here. We got Conrad Pierce. And it is Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. So we're drinking some Coronas in celebration. Cheers,
boys.
guys.
Cheers, boys.
And we're going to talk about some trading today. So
I love it.
how y'all doing?
Man, it's a fantastic day.
It is a good day.
US 30 did some dirty.
It did.
And that's
That it
okay,
did.
though, because that's what it was actually going to do. It's going to fall right off 3,400, just like I said.
I'm in blues. Life is good.
He's in some blues today.
Some blues.
He's feeling
There you
good.
go. There you go.
So anyways, on this podcast today, we kind of wanted to talk about the difference between beginners like Conrad and,
No shame.
yeah, no shame at all. He's learning, man.
We all
And he's
start.
doing good.
Yeah.
And then people that are a little bit more experienced. And one of the things I want to say about trading is, like, you never stop growing in your trading. You're always learning something new and adapting to something new, if you're doing it right, I think, anyways.
For sure.
I don't know how you feel about that, Grant, but
Well, the market's always changing. So if you keep doing the same thing, eventually you're going to have to adjust yourself or you're going to lose. I know since this year and all the turmoil and the war in Europe, I've had to adjust how I look at the market. And I had really like a month there of, it's kind of hard adjusting. So you have to learn as you go.
Reacting.
Reacting.
That's just time and time again I hear from you guys, and I think I'll be the voice of, like, the outsider of, I have learned so much. Now it's just about applying it, which is
And-
the tough part.
actually the cool thing about Conrad today is he found himself a nice little Head and Shoulders. And he's
Yeah,
actually short
let's
in
go.
some profit.
Was it
Let's
AUD
go.
Chef?
Now, this is...
There was USD CAD.
USD
USD CAD on the 4 hour, May 5th. Check the facts.
So this is actually the issue that Connor had today.
Oh, you're bringing me up to bring me down?
Well, yeah, because, I mean, you're a beginner, man, and
For
it's
sure,
so funny
for
to
sure.
watch how beginners react to certain things in the market.
Right.
Anyways, he had a great entry on this. I think you were at 3 lots in. And what he ended up doing is he ended up taking partials. He took one
Oh,
standard.
we're talking about this trade.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
legit.
Yeah.
Man. Okay.
And then he does what every beginner does. You know, he has a better entry with 3 lots, closes out, what, 1, right?
Two.
I closed out one. I closed out one
one.
transfer. One standard.
Uh-huh.
Left 2 running.
And then it drops a little bit more, and he places 5 standards.
Where he closed.
Where he closed. Now, what was going through your head at this point?
It was, I thought it broke through the 200 off the
200 moving
200
average.
moving average on the 30 minute. Juked out, and it was poorly done. Poorly done on my part.
It wasn't necessarily if you would still be holding that 5 lots, but you took a little loss on it.
Yeah, a little loss.
If you were-
It was like
if you were
$200.
right.
It was like $200.
But
Right. I think that I've gotten so used to US 30 that the way that it moves, like when it moves, it's gone. And so I saw it go. I should just stay out of US 30.
that's my
be
best
honest.
piece of advice.
Yeah.
I love US 30, man.
But that's the thing. Like, I have to quick kind of like shout out. I have to pass this top tier challenge, So we're shooting right now, creative director to top tier trader. And for me, I went the beginner's route and I was like, US 30 is the way to go. Let's do it. And then now I'm 17. I have to make up 17 grand.
Yes.
Well, it's not over.
It's
No,
not over.
you
I
still
bought the time extension. It's not over.
Not over.
And
He's not leaving.
I'm not leaving.
No.
Yeah.
Honestly, the funny thing about Conrad, we've been trading the last 2 weeks together, and he calls a lot of right trades, but also what he does is he overanalyzes the 1 minute chart. and doesn't necessarily have like a great area where maybe it goes against him, and he'll have like the tiniest little stop loss, and it will just hit his stop loss and then go exactly where he said it was going to go. So we're trying to like develop that with Conrad, where we can have him understand where he needs to put his stop loss, like a point, instead of just like right below his entry. And I think what comes with that is like understanding what the market will do if it doesn't go your way right away.
Right.
Like we were talking about earlier this week. If the market doesn't go my way where I expect it to go my way, I always know the next area where it's going to react off that area, or should at least. And I think that's a good thing for traders to understand, you know, if it breaks through your entry, where's it going to next before it's going to potentially rise or fall off your entry?
Fair enough.
How do you feel about that, Grant?
I mean, first off, like, what's your strategy?
So I figured out.
What are you looking for your strategy?
So I've taken Derek's course before I really started taking trading serious. And that was kind of my big motivator, was like, okay, now I can, you know, walk into this a little bit more confidently. I look for the shark fins. So if you don't know what a shark fin is, you should definitely watch.
Why don't you explain
series.
it for people real quick?
So the shark fin is when off the TDI, would it be considered a moving average?
No, it's the RSI. So
it would be the RSI. I got this.
All right.
I got this. The RSI comes out of the Bollinger Band and back through. And that could be buy or sell whenever you see it come out and dip back through, or on its way back through.
As long as it's above the 20 or below the 25 or above the 75. That's how I take my shark fins.
Fair enough. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, along with reversals off the moving average.
Yeah.
And I trade New York. Want to start getting into London. And then I need 3 confluences.
I also noticed that you look a lot for trendline breaks on like the 1 minute.
That is true. I 5.
Those
I
are such false moves. Like I can't even look at the 1-5. I barely look at the 15.
We've talked about the 5 minute though, when it breaks out.
It can work, but like I feel like on US 30, NAS, those kinds of indexes, right? Every time there's a 5 minute trend line break, it's some type of false move. At least lately. Like I quit trading them.
Okay.
I stay away from them.
Got it.
I usually look for, I feel like the hour lately has been the most accurate chart. If you're intraday trading.
I think it's so important to know ultimately where the higher time frames should end up going.
Right.
You know, if like on US 30 hit 34.1, I think, had a solid shark fin on the 4 hour, 1 hour. It's still on that resistance level, that strong resistance. So that's an area where, and not only that, it's looking as though it's going to continue to drop. If you were to look at the chart, still in a downtrend. So if you're looking at the chart at that point, you should at least know where that 1 hour, 4 hour is going to end up going if it actually follows through with that shark fin. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Know where you're going. I know your entry point, why you're getting into a trade, and why you're getting out. And we've talked about that.
Yes.
So, go ahead.
Well, I had a question for both of you guys. So Go ahead.
So throughout your top tier challenge, right? Because there's really a lot of pressure on it. What have you learned most from this so far? Because it's not over yet, but so far through everything that you've done, wins, losses, what have you learned the most that you can take from this?
Honestly, and I'm not joking, but I would say to stay out of US 30 if you're not a really confident trader, like hands down. And obviously
more.
it's the mentality and so much more. But if it came down to one thing, it's that I wanted the quick fix. You know, it was that gambling mentality. This is the quickest way to do it. Let's get this over with. And yeah, so I would say just to stay out of US 30. Be smart.
So I think one of the biggest things you've done to lose on your top or for tier 1 account is
trade US 30.
Trade US 30 you tried countering US 30 pretty much every time. Like it's in like a strong move, and then you try buying it. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I definitely try to trade against it, and that's that whole, I don't know, I would call it a beginner's mindset, is where it's like, I would refer back to the gambling.
Right.
It's like, I bet it's going to go up, and then
Well, this is another thing.
it doesn't go up.
It's a rush. You always want to go back to it.
It is a rush.
And then you watch it too much because one wrong move and you're not watching, then your whole account's screwed.
Yes.
So just stay away from it.
Right. Yeah. I wanted to ask both of you. And you haven't been watching me trade as much as you have, but I think, and this is great for the viewers, like, what was the biggest thing for you? What was the biggest switch from beginner to, we'll just call it pro for sake of conversation? What was it inside of your brain, your strategy? It could be a couple things. I am curious. I'll start with you, Grant. Like, what was it for you that was like, okay, I get it now?
Honestly, recognizing, really trying to learn market structure. That was the biggest thing. Because, like, you pull up a chart and you're first starting, right? And you're studying, doing chart time, back testing, whatever you're doing. And, you have it's really finding trend lines and points of structure and like what an actual trend line break is. And, like, let's say you have a big downtrend, right? And you break out and you think you're on a retest. Well, being patient for those entries. Because if you get in a trade, my whole thing lately has been trying to get better entries and finding reasons why not to take a trade. Like for instance, it was gold last night. I was on live.
Why not to take a trade?
Why would you not take this trade?
Yes, that's huge.
That's huge. And that kind of changed my perspective on, instead of like, I should take this trade because, it's divergent, it's off structure, it's off this moving average, this moving average, this moving average, whatever, on all these time frames. And then all of a sudden I start recognizing, just even learning from Derek some, well, I got in a buy and, US 30 or NAS or whatever pair I was on kept selling. And he's like, well, look, you had a major rejection off of, the 200 on the daily. And, I've learned to not trade against those. Even though all these other time frames and factors line up, don't trade against that major moving average rejection. So things like that, and as I was going back to the gold trade, right? Same exact scenario. We had a lot of lower time frame confluences that said this thing is about to buy, and everyone in those people in the chat like, yeah, I want to buy gold, this is a great trade. And I'm like, I pull it up and I'm like, look, we have a major 4-hour divergence that this is going to sell. I'm like, this is why I'm not going to take this trade, even though every other time frame's lining up. But that one thing said I'm not doing it, and sure enough, everyone got stopped out that took it. And I told them to stay out. So it's looking really why not to take that trade.
I really like that.
So for me, it's getting out of that point where you're sitting at the charts and you're looking at this trade and you're like, dang, this is way overbought, way oversold, whatever it is. And not having a clear entry point. Like, you're just like, you know what, I'm going to take it because it's overbought, oversold. For me, like, waiting to that area where everything lines up, that's where I'm always going to take my entry, where it lines up the most and the trade would be the best based on confluences. And if you can be patient enough to wait for those confluences, you're set. Instead of just being like, you know what, I'm going to buy here because we've got a nice little shark fin, but there's really not a whole lot of confluences like US 30 today. I'm sure so many people lost their ass because they bought because it was oversold. And they're like, oh, this is the bottom here. But then if you look at the chart, there was a clear entry where it was going to be for a solid buy. If you were just wait for that clear entry instead of getting past the FOMO and just letting it kind of do what it's going to do. And if it does rise off that area, you missed out on a trade, no big deal. But you want to be taking the trades that are really like they just make sense. And for me, it's staying out of like my head and being like, oh, I'm going to buy here. And it's just being calculated with my entries. I'm not going to buy until it gets here for this reason.
Right.
And sometimes I miss trades, but at the same time, almost all my trades are wins just by waiting. I take, like I said, less trades, but at the end of the day, I win far more by having that approach.
Right. And I'm gonna add to that too, by especially new traders, and it took me a long time to get over this. But losing that, and I'll say I even still like have that itch and struggle with it, but losing the gambling mentality
Yes.
that trading can give you. Because you're like, oh, this lines up. I just really want to get in something because what if I'm right, and I'm going to be mad and I look back and I was right and I didn't take it. Losing the gambling mentality, that's huge too.
Right. And that's where that response was for me, was like, US 30 is the roulette. Man, like it was just like, it's fun. All of a sudden, like you're up, you make $1,200 and you're like,
See
I'm going to
the
go
way
buy the club. And then
the way I
next
see the
thing
charts,
you know,
it's really not. To me, it follows structure more than any other pair.
I just mean
The way that I
right
look
now.
at, no, I know, but the way that I look at charts, though. Like, if you trade off of, like, I use Bollinger Bands, and if you can spot how I see Bollinger Bands, like, you can get such good entries off of US 30 just by waiting for the actual move and not, like, trading in between moves.
Right.
Like, let it get to that point where it's exhausted. It's at a very powerful point of structure, and then take it off of that.
Fair enough.
And another thing, like, don't trade against lower highs or higher lows. Like, if there's structure and there's a lower high in that structure, I'd say 90% of the time it's going to break through that structure and create a new low. So, or vice versa. So, you kind of have to know market structure in that way. Like, if it's creating lower highs, then it's obviously going to make a new low. And these are the times where I think that was that trade, it created a lower high up that 200 or 800 on that US 30.
Yep.
Hit a nice area of support, but at the same time, it was rejecting the 200 moving average and made a lower high into that area of support. And what did it do? It came down, made a new low, and then rejected that new low really heavy.
So I think what I'm getting from the collective here is, for one, stay out of US 30, right?
Yes. Even some experienced traders should.
Right. Depends on the experience.
Yeah.
Totally. That level.
US 30's definitely ruined some lives.
Right. I think, and you've told me this before, is just sticking to one pair as a beginner.
Yeah.
One
One to three pairs.
1 to 3 pairs. So, okay, now this is the beginner asking. If you could pick 3 pairs, Derek, you'll start. If you could pick 3 pairs besides the Dirty 30, what would you pick?
I would definitely pick GBP JPY. If you can learn GBP JPY, you'll be set for life. Seriously, I love that pair. That's what I did my first 5 years, only traded GJ.
Okay. This one.
And then I started trading higher time frames, more intraday. And so I actually can look at more pairs now. I have like probably 20 pairs I look at. But as a beginner,
you stuck with GJ for 5 years.
for 5 years, I scalped GJ.
You disciplined mother.
Dude, I was banking on it.
Dang. Well, I know Druzy Banks.
Yeah, that's all he
He
trades.
trades GJ for a reason.
He dabbled in US 30 for a bit.
Yeah.
So I would go GJ, probably Euro JPY. No, Euro GBP. And
That was a good one.
yeah, I like Euro GBP. And then probably like an NZD pair. I like NZD CAD, NZD Chef. What about you, Grant?
Me? GJ for sure. Oil. And I'm just gonna say 2. I don't have a third.
Okay, I
the
like
rest
that.
is a wild card.
For sure. For sure. I kind
Right.
of feel the same way.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about trading gold?
I hate it.
You hate gold?
I hate.
I have a
trading gold.
nostalgia with gold.
You like it?
The first trade I ever placed, year and a half ago. I was just kind of getting into it, like learning about it, obviously surrounded by Anthony and you. And I was like, this is rookie luck, but I was like, I'll just hop in here. And I think I put like $100 in the account. Placed a buy, conked out, went to bed. No stop loss because I didn't really know like what that was. Woke up to like $48 in profit, and I thought that was just like the greatest thing ever. I was like, yep, hooked.
I got
I
it.
can make $48 while I'm sleeping.
There is nothing like that first feeling. My first trade, I made $100, dude.
Yes.
I made 200 on US 30.
And it will get
First
you.
one.
Once you make
first
money,
trade?
First trade.
Oh man, it had you.
And I blew the account the next day.
You had the the other day I was sitting there trading US 30. And I was like, man, I got the US 30 sweats, man. Oh my God. We've got to make a t-shirt out of that.
Yeah. I think everyone
US
wins their
30
first trade
sweats.
they take. It's just like,
And why is that? Because you don't know enough. And it's just like you just see some
Yeah.
lines. It looks like it might go up here.
you know,
You got 50-50.
that's what's crazy. At the end of the day, it's really a 50-50 shot. Like
You've told me
buy,
that.
you buy or sell, you got better odds trading than Vegas, but so many people lose because it's so emotionally reactive. That's the whole
Yes.
market.
well, I mean, there's so many people that just, like I said, once you get that past that phase where you're not emotional about your trading, like, oh, I'm going to buy here because it's oversold, overbought, and you actually look for areas that matter in the market, then that's when you actually start becoming a real trader.
So one thing that I've been doing, and that's a good point, right? So there's areas in the market. I've been placing buy and sell limits.
Yeah, you
And-
talked about that.
And using those tools, I think, it makes you not sit and stare at the chart, for one, constantly. And number two, once you're in, you're there where you think your entry should really be, and you're not taking the entry based off of your emotions. So I really like the idea of using buy and sell limits.
It is.
I don't
good.
really use buy or sell stops much, but
I really like that analogy because if you can find an area of the market that would make sense to enter the trade, like that AUD Chef trendline retest,
Mhm.
you said you did that
Yeah.
for that, got a perfect entry off of it.
mm-hmm.
You don't have to sit there, look at the charts, but the entry makes absolute sense.
Yep.
So if you can find areas to do that on trades and place, the sell limits, buy limits on those areas, that's a great skill to use.
Yeah. And it's not as stressful. You're not sitting there watching it, and you're not looking at every tick of every candle, and you're like, should I buy here? Oh, no, it's selling. Let me close and sell now, and then it buys up. Just trust the structure that you learn, place your entries, and then that's really the best way to eliminate stress, in my opinion.
Well,
Just
and
stop looking.
the majority, I feel like, aren't full time.
Right.
So if you're at work, before
Right.
work, you're looking at charts, you get like an hour to yourself,
Right.
drinking your coffee.
Checking your
set
phone,
those.
checking your phone
You
during
can-
work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of,
This is why I don't scout. Like, I'd go nuts.
see,
I will
that's the
never-
beginner in me.
I will never regret scalping because I spent so much time looking at the 1 minute chart that I now know every pattern there is in the Forex market. Because I spent probably, I'm guessing, 10,000 hours, maybe 5,000 hours just sitting there watching the 1 minute chart, like day after day after day. And I started seeing these patterns that developed into my strategy
And the bigger time frames.
and the bigger time frame. So now, like, if that,
They translate.
oh,
Really?
yeah, every time frame has the same patterns if
Yep.
you look at it, 100%. Every time frame does. So that's
Noted.
why I say, if you're starting out, I don't think it's a bad thing to start out scalping because you get to watch the chart and how it moves so much more than if you're watching the hour chart.
Mm-hmm.
More chart time on the 1 minute just gets stuck in your subconscious and you start noticing things if you're paying attention, of course.
God, I feel like it's like a controlled stroke watching US 30 and on the 1 minute. I've spent so much time during this challenge watching it, and it's just like watching it the whole time. It's
because your emotions are so
freaking-
high
It totally
during
is.
it. You have something on the line that is going to potentially change your life.
Yeah.
Like this morning, dude, he freaking was in a sell on US 30 and was like, I was holding his phone. He was like $300 in profit. I think he was using 0.10, and he's like, give me my phone. Puts his stop in profit like 5 pips and just nails his stop, but then it just tanked. That's just part of like his beginner stage. Like his emotions, I saw it in his eyes. Like he started freaking out because he's like, oh,
I was not that crazy.
it was pretty crazy.
I had some swag to it. Hey, give me the phone.
You're like, all right, give me the phone.
I will say the most money I made was, and this was like a rule that I totally went against, was trading in the car. I saw it on the way to work, and it was moving and grooving. I was like, this is gonna buy. Hopped in it, took a right, flew up, and I felt I actually pulled a Derek, and I was about to check my pulse because I felt like the blood rush to my feet. I'm sweating. It's up $1,200, and I was just like, man. Closed immediately, and I was like, I should not be doing this while I'm driving, because I legit felt
That is one of my
massive rush.
biggest rules is do not trade and drive. One of my biggest rules.
Wow.
Do not, because I used to do it all the time.
See, that's why I don't even trade on my phone, because my emotions, like I'm just like, oh God, yes, oversold, nice little shark fin. I can't see the full picture, and you know, that's every time I've lost a lot of money, it's because I took the trade on my phone.
Really? You
Yes.
don't trade on your phone?
Absolutely not.
You do?
I do. I like to confirm on my phone.
Man.
I like to look at my phone before I take a trade. But yeah, I'd rather look at the computer. It's a lot way
See,
clearer.
maybe that is a big part of this.
And I can't trade on a laptop either. Like I need my computer screen, like a big
That's how I am.
screen.
I need to see the full aspect of the market.
Yes.
Well, I do. So I look at TradingView, and then I take the trade on my phone. I think
Yeah, but you're sitting there on your iPad, you're on your phone. If you notice,
That's why traders have these setups with these screens, and they're all big, and you only really need one good screen.
when I was scalping, I had 4 screens, and I'd have like the 15-minute, the 5-minute, the 1 minute, and like maybe the 1 hour on a time frame
Like
of
we
GJ.
did today.
Yeah, of GJ. And I would just sit there and wait for those potential points of confluence, and that's when they all connected, that's when I would take my scalp. And I would take like a beautiful trade. It'd maybe be a trade that would drop 400 pips. I'd take a nice whopping 8 pips on it and call it a day.
You know what? That's all right. Confirmed. That's going to be part of my strategy from now on. Seriously. I think that's going to be huge.
Not trading and driving.
No. That's one. The other is looking at not trading, because I do trade off my phone a lot, and it's off the 1 minute watching US 30. I need to look at the
Right.
bigger picture.
Yes.
So another thing that I feel like I've progressed a lot over the last year, right? And one of the biggest things that I've seen that other people do and that I did, and still like am critiquing and working on, right? But is making mistakes that I know are mistakes. Like continually repeating mistakes that you shouldn't do.
Do you journal? Have
No.
you journaled?
No. Make a file it. Mental note.
You're also one of those people I feel like that can do that.
Yeah.
Him and I are very similar.
Yeah.
That's not happening. I feel like I have journaled, but I need to do a better job.
Dude,
Yeah.
if you journaled, and like, I think this is a huge thing that traders should do, but they like very, I guess I want to say, kind of lazy. Like I'm lazy about it. Like mark off the confluences before you take a trade. Like, why is this trade going to do this? You have a little cheat sheet saying, well, it's got these 4 reasons. Sounds good to me. I'm going to take that trade based on these 4 reasons, instead of like it's going to keep you from having that emotion of like, I need to get in right now.
Right.
And another thing I think too, and I'm speaking for myself, like I'm talking to myself when I say this, is opening a MyFX book account and hooking your account up to that so you can actually see what you're doing.
Yes, that's huge.
And I'm speaking to myself doing that because I don't do that.
See, I have the nice thing about Top Tier is they have the metric dashboard. You can see the wins versus losses. You can see your chart. It shows you your profit chart. It's just one line, Yep.
But
I would be curious I would like to know if I know for a fact already that I'm I prefer buying, but I've also lost more buying,
right?
So I wonder what that ratio is. So
and then that's why it's good, right? Because you can figure it out. Well, did I lose more because I upped my lot size and lost the same amount of pips as when I had a lower lot size,
right?
Or is it because there's a lot of different factors? But that's why I think it's a really good idea because that'll make you understand yourself better.
I think a fixed lot size is huge. My first 3 or 4 years, I used 6 standards on every trade I took. And then once I'd get to a certain amount, I'd maybe use 7, 8 standards instead of so many people will take, they'll win 2 or 3 big trades and then they'll like automatically up their lot size.
Yep. And then boom, they
lost all their profits.
Everything.
So I think a fixed lot size is huge. like this Conrad over here. Fixed lot size is way better than trying to like up your lot size on every win.
And you also need to understand like the pair that you're trading, right? Like, okay, are you scalping and you're going to use 0.10 or 0.20 on US 30, right? Or are you trading oil where, a 0.5 is pretty heavy, or are you trading GJ or, you also need to understand what you're trading. Like you really got to dive full in and understand the aspect of everything about what you're in.
That's why I think demo is so important. I don't care what anyone says. Like that's how I did it my first 6 months of trading on a demo account. I hooked it up to my FX book. I kept it as a competition for myself, and I would look at my FX book every day, see how much I'd gain. I wanted to gain 2.5% every day. And once I gained that amount, I stopped trading. It was just a set of rules I had with myself, and I followed it religiously. And I think that's important. Like, as a trader, you got to be, like, you have to follow your rules to a T. Yeah. Because every time you don't, you're just, like, you're screwing yourself up, essentially.
You're gambling.
I'm going to add to that, too. One thing that I've done is I'll make a couple $1,000s on a trade on oil. I did it a few weeks ago. Made like $2,000 in a day, caught a nice move on oil, and then all of a sudden come back same day. I should just walk away and be done. And then I get on stupid NAS buys and it just keeps tanking, and just walking away after you win or lose is so important.
Like if you have a good day, just like step away.
Stop.
Don't have that FOMO. You don't need to be looking at the charts trying to make more money.
It's so bad. I have FOMO so bad.
It's like one of those things, like honestly, just step away and go have some fun if you made some money.
Yeah.
Like you're sitting at your desk making pretty easy money. Like go enjoy it.
Yeah. Fair enough. I think, man, from the outside looking in, because I'm not in the trader space yet, I'm the creative director.
But I
produce this. Yes. But, I think that it's important, like, for, no matter what level you're at as a trader, to hear this and getting back to the fundamentals. And I hope that I brought some nostalgia to all the advanced traders out there. Like, man, this guy's a total beginner. It reminds me of myself. You know what I mean?
I think here's the biggest takeaway on this podcast. When you enter a trade, your blood's going, your pulse is just racing.
The US 30 sweats.
That will go away. That feeling will eventually go away. And you're going to take a trade, you're going to trust yourself, and you're not even going to feel any different than you did before you took that trade. And that's when trading gets beautiful. When you don't have those emotions stuck to this one trade. And if you're doing things right, and know exactly what you're doing, you really shouldn't have those crazy emotions. Like, oh gosh, I'm going to lose $2,500 on this trade, but if I win it, I'm going to win $7,000. Like, you have to accept that before you take the trade. Like, when you place that trade, that money is gone, or you grew it, you know? But that feeling will eventually leave. Until you do something stupid and try to start a trade copier. Then that feeling will come back.
Life happens, man. So you're just getting numb.
Oh, yeah, you get absolutely numb.
For sure. I mean, that's the whole mental aspect. That's why it's so mental. I've been around you guys now for close to 2 years. And it's preached across the globe in the Forex industry. It's just 80% mental, 20% strategy.
It's like golf.
It's like, oh.
It's like golf.
Man.
You're
Nice.
just in that like double
Nice.
bogey
You're
phase
not
right
wrong.
now.
You're a bogey golfer. You're like a break-even trader. Like
It's like, you know, when you're golfing, you have those stupid things you do to try to make you go for it when you should just lay up.
You know you shouldn't.
But this is why you're a bogey golfer.
For sure. I can't wait 6 months from now when I'm a birdie golfer. We sit down at this podcast, maybe even less time. I'm surrounded by you guys. I'm really lucky. Truly.
You're getting better, dude. You're getting better.
The head and shoulders today was a beauty.
It was
Oh my
freaking
God.
beautiful, amigo.
I was very excited about it. But I can't wait to sit down with you guys 6 months from now and actually, not sound like a beginner, because I know that I'm using the verbiage of a beginner and the way that I'm kind of dancing around explaining my chart strategy and all this stuff. But that's my goal, So keep track of me. Keep tabs, because
This man's gonna be a beast.
I'm
He's gonna
coming
kill
for
it.
you. I'm coming for you, and I'm coming for you. Let's go.
I love competition, man.
Yes. So happy Cinco de Mayo, guys.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Let's go.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Yes. Make sure that you guys are subscribed, because there's so much in the works. As the creative director, I could not be more hyped and more proud of the guys that I work with. We're up to some really, really incredible things.
Absolutely.
Truly.
Just trying to provide as much value as possible for everyone.
Honestly. And this is another thing. If you guys have any ideas for us to provide more value, don't be afraid to shoot it to us, because we want to hear your input. I know we're doing the signals and we're doing the live trading and, we're in the chat talking, but if there's more you want to see that we look at it and say, hey, this would actually be something cool, we're always down to develop something new.
Right. We called it the Trader Society for a reason. Everyone's on the same level.
Yep.
We want to help in any way possible, including myself. If you guys had a good laugh out of this at the beginner style of trading, then awesome. I did my job.
Absolutely.
I'll also be sitting down editing this after this, So make sure that you are subscribed. Go check us out, tradersociety.com. Make sure you're following everyone. I'll add it in the comment section or the description below. And thank you guys.
We'll see you guys next week.
Yes.
We'll see y'all.
Yeah. Let's go. Thanks, guys.